We've had experiences like this before. I'm not this long. I think we had like 7 days back in 2017 twice in between first and second and third round. So you kind of understand how you can mentally you want to refresh too. Playoffs are demanding. I know Draymond's talked about life and death and how hard it is just to win one game, let alone a series. So if you have time to kind of just reset a little bit, take advantage of it. But also just whatever you need, on a daily, like you scrimmage a little bit, make sure your conditioning straight, get your lifting and body work in, then you get your skill work in and all that type of stuff. We all kind of have an understanding of how our body responds and what we need to do and how to also get off your feet, knowing that the rest should play to our advantage once the finals start.
How have the scrimmages kind of helped you guys keep that sharp?
I mean, today was the first time, so honestly it was a little sloppy, but that's to be expected. We're still, 6 days away from game one, but throughout the scrimmage, you don't have to go 100% playoff intensity, but you can still focus on the things that, help you win games defensively, like just rotations and switches and all that type of stuff. And then offensively, certain play calls that we know we're going to run, just trying to execute them, even though in our scrimmages everybody knows what the plays are. So you just got to have fun and compete with it. Obviously, you want to stay safe and really, it's just to make sure the lungs still work for the finals.
I heard you were good again.
Huh?
I heard you were a good player again. Have you heard that?
Oh, you talking about in general in life? I thought you talking about today in the scrimmage.
No, like I heard you were a good basketball player again.
It's the word on the street, huh? Don't write it too quick, because things can change by tomorrow. Yeah.
Steph, obviously, typically when you're watching basketball, you're watching during these Eastern Conference Finals. You watch from a different point of view, knowing one of the teams is going to be a opponent. Kind of almost like homework studying.
For sure, it's a weird experience, obviously, because you're kind of nitpicking both teams. Studying them, obviously, you don't know which one you're going to play, but just following this series, it's been pretty interesting. How Toronto's fought back and took the lead in the series, and the game's coming down to last possessions like most playoff games do. So they have a lot of great talent on both teams. A lot of similarities, but we'll have to wait and see who we play.
Steph, how's DeMarcus looked in the scrimmages from your perspective?
He's looked good. I mean, considering what he's been through the last year and a half, and having not been on the court in almost a month, so he's making strides, and obviously conditioning-wise, it's going to be that last step. But it seems like in that scrimmage, he had confidence in whatever he was doing, and we work on timing and endurance and all that type of stuff. But he's looked good.
Obviously, how long do you think it will take, if at all, for you guys to catch that rhythm again together as a group with him?
It'll be easy. We've been through this before where guys have been out, like 2017 when he went out with it was a knee injury, and came back right before the playoffs, but we were able to adjust and adapt. And honestly, this will be interesting just because it is the finals and just the magnitude of the moment, but we'll definitely rely on just the trust and understanding that with K out there, the ball still moves. We have a couple more play calls we can run for him. Defensively, we should be able to take it up another notch with his presence. Still keep the energy that we've been playing with and win a championship for sure.
How do you think? How much and in what ways does Clay's defense impact you? Steve made a Clay off and taking the ball handler or a big scorer maybe allows you to save a little energy or play off the ball. I mean, you've been doing it together for a long time. How maybe in this playoffs has it manifested itself? Do you think?
The same as it always has. He loves those challenges and those opportunities. He has a certain skill set where he can use his length, and he's extremely quick for his size to guard dynamic point guards or the main scorer in the backcourt, whatever the case is. So it's obviously, to me, a travesty that this is the first year he's been acknowledged in terms of an all-defensive team because of what he does consistently night after night. And he's not racking up crazy amount of steals or blocks or whatever, but his presence is always felt. And you could ask anybody who plays against him, like you know where he's at all times, especially on the ball, with him being able to slow down some pretty dynamic scorers in this league. And to your point, if you have to choose between me and him, who you want guarding a guy, I probably would pick him in any stretch. But he takes those challenges on, and as a part of like the 5-man defense or whatnot, we love to have his back when he's guarding the point of attack for sure.
What are the pros and cons of being where you guys were before, where you're almost like what Milwaukee is to a degree, where you're like experiencing this stuff that you knew and you want to get out there and show who you are, whereas now you guys are it's almost like you guys do this for a living?
I like this situation a lot better. For sure. It's just a confidence that that you've done it before, and you know what it feels like. The adrenaline rush, the nervousness, the sense of urgency in the moment, and that accounts for something for sure. When we were going through the 2014-15 season, we had all the confidence in the world, but you still don't know what it takes to get over that hump and win a championship. So I don't think anything surprises us at this point. It's just a matter of can we rise to the moment, can we execute. And even in a situation like last series where we were down pretty much the whole series until the end of the game, that's because we could keep our composure. Like Portland played it extremely well, and they had guys step up in different moments that really challenged us. But when it came down to it, championship mentality took over, and we didn't get rattled. And when you haven't been in that situation before, it's a lot harder to do that on a nightly basis.
Steph Curry feels like people try to make him a separate entity from the Warriors. When you hear people talking about him in that way, what's your reaction or your thoughts about that?
I feel like for the last 3 years, everybody has taken their shots at trying to nitpick or break us down or drive a wedge in our team chemistry or our togetherness and whatever the case is. And even this year, it's even been amplified even more with his free agency stuff, and nobody can say anything without it getting scrutinized or criticized, or nobody can be happy when people are playing well. That's the part to me that's the most surprising. If it's KD playing well, it's they're playing a different style and it's not as fun to watch. Or if it's when he's out and we're winning games, it's are we better? Are we more fun? Whatever the question is, you hear it all the time. We're a great team because everybody who puts on a uniform goes out and competes at a high level. We look out for each other. There's a little bit of sacrifice, but at the end of the day, it's all about winning. And no matter who's on the floor, that's what we're about. So that question before, like when K gets back, are we going to be able to transition? Yeah, because we have that experience and that capability to do so. But at the end of the day, we are one group until we're not. And I don't think we're going to let any noise around us, as frustrating or entertaining or whatever you want to call it is on a daily basis, break us down in terms of distracting us from what the goal is. So that kind of is what it is.
Steph, what characteristics do you think you and the group have to make sure that that's an all-thing internally?
Just what do you care about? Like, you care about winning, you care about putting up banners, then everybody, you don't really have to say much when you show up every day. When we were in Houston, Game 6, I think Draymond talked about it too, like it was kind of quiet around shoot around and in the locker room, and he knew that meant we were locked in, ready to go for that challenge. it wasn't anybody having to go in and make a speech before the practice or before a game. Like, all right, let's block out the noise, guys. Not listen to anybody. And like nobody has to say that. It's like we just show up and play basketball, and you deal with what it means to be a great championship winning team because people care about what's going on and want to cover us the way that they do, and that's cool. That's a part of the territory. But if we can just play basketball and enjoy what we do, then we can keep it simple for ourselves for sure.
As much now as it did a few years ago, internally?
For sure. I think at this point, like, everybody's lives are a little different. I mean, honestly, we've all grown up a little bit, and guys have families, kids running around everywhere. So in terms of like how much time you spend outside of the facility or games or whatnot, it might be not be as much as it used to. But in terms of the respect and chemistry and just how much fun we have playing basketball at this level, that doesn't change at all. Especially in the playoffs when there's no better feeling than what we get to experience on a daily basis, and we want to keep that going for as long as we can.
Great. Is that it?
Thanks, sir.
Appreciate that.
Yep.
Thank you.
It was great. Full swing, baby.
There you go.